Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NASCAR Vernors Cup Series. Oh man, last time out, we were at a pretty cool track. We were at, oh yeah, we were at Ontario. First race there in forever. Billy Mays won that one for a second win in 5 races. Now we are at I was gonna say the Chicago Motor Speedway. This is not the Chicago Motor Speedway. This is the Roval. This is Charlotte. We're at Charlotte. Charlotte's back to having 2 dates, but we're doing a road course race. This is the Tums Heartburn 400. And before we can get any further, we gotta go to our starting lineup. You cannot make this up. For the second year in a row, the last road course race of the season sees a part-time driver on pole, specifically the same part-time driver, Tim Foster, on pole in the number 40 Coors Light Dodge for Lionel Messi Racing. Alongside him is the man himself, Woody Harrelson, in the 32 car, still looking for that first career win. That could come this week. Marco Polo is going to start alongside him. He was a dual winner. Alongside of him is Burt Reynolds, who is having a rough year, still looking for his first win since Sonoma last year, so it's been a while. Kathy Bates has been consistently good at winning, usually a couple times every year. She won at Watkins Glen. Look out for her. Hutch Strickland looking for his third win of the year alongside. Then Bob Ross, the owner of the 600, which is the spring race here. He's won it the last 2 times. Alongside of him will be Jerry Springer, who finally broke through a few weeks back in New Hampshire. Then there's John Cena, who was a runner-up in the 600 one year, along with, oh dear Lord, Joe Biden. This is age for 2020. Oh, I guess since it's 2020, he's doing okay in the polls. Here's Donald Fagen. He hasn't won in a hot minute. New Hampshire last year. Alongside of him is Tom Jones. Grover Cleveland finally got his first. God, that's an aged interesting. And Peter Perfect, who hasn't won since 2018 All-Star race. Tom Hanks, always a threat to win every week. And Al Roker, who hasn't won in like nearly 100 races at this point. James Bond, last won while under the name George Lazenby. And Bela Fleck. I better hurry this up and hit the major ones. Former champ Richard Simmons starts alongside David Dayton. Crow and Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock won Sonoma. I guess he's notable. Al Capone, I think, still looking for that first win, alongside last year's champion, Harrison Ford. Walter White and Count Dracula, that certainly is a row. Stephen George, he won Daytona, July. And Brendan Gaughan, who did win Road America Xfinity, or Melling as it's called now, 2014. He needs a better. He's not doing good in points if they were to finish where they start. Also in that same boat would be Ian Anderson, who's gonna start next to Rick Scott. Yes, now outside of the top 30. Hank Hill, who finally got a win earlier this year at Michigan, will start next to Denzel Washington. Iggy Koopa, Billy Mays, last week's winner at Ontario. Snoop Dogg is going to start next to Telly Savalas, who's still looking for his first win of the year. Then it's Geddy Lee. Oh, and always a champion to just take off and win. He is, I think, still looking for his first win of the year. Woody Woodpecker alongside him. He won 3 races last year. And then Brian Wilson and Nathan McCain in a part-time Raven West car. Rounding out the field, Jeff Lynne and Blaze Alexander.
Drivers, start your engines.
I lied. Portland and not Watkins Glen was the last road course race. The winner of that was Chick Corea, who is one of the 5 drivers going fishing this week. In his 27, Morgan Freeman also notably probably the big name to miss the race. Casper the Friendly Ghost also missed in his Toyota. The Renault of Pastor Maldonado, one of 3 part-time drivers to attempt this race, the only one to miss. And then also Carl Edwards, who was the first driver out, missing out by .024 behind Nathan McCain, who was able to get his Raven West Toyota into the smart qualifying spot. This is certainly going to be an interesting race. We had really weird and interesting in the good ways and in the bad ways. As we went racing for a big one. No, in yesterday's race, it was a pretty good race. Mitch Hedberg led flag to flag. We had some lot weirdness. We're hoping we got a little bit less weirdness. Although some jank could result in some weird stuff. Stephen George is actually 4th in points. Wow, all of the championship contenders are in the back, except for Joe Biden. Lovely. As Tim Foster looking for yet another good run. He's going to lead the field. He is 54th in points, 2 starts, 1 top 10. He's hoping to add on to that, looking for his 2nd career win here at Charlotte. Here at the Roval. Pace car down pit road. Foster and Harrelson lead him to green as we're green in the Tums Heartburn 400. Still, side by side, we got to look at the Heartburn turn. The last 2 drivers in the field, Lynn and Alexander, both look like they kind of had slow laps. Speaking of slow, Foster is allowing Woody Harrelson the challenge for the race lead here in the early going. Foster's got a good run out of that corner. I don't know all these corners. But here we go on to the sweeping part to get us back into the oval. And Woody Harrelson had his nose out in front, still has his nose out in front. Foster's going to have the line, though, and might be able to sneak past. Woody Harrelson holding tough on the outside. Burt Reynolds all over, but it looks like Foster clears. Harrelson second in his Pontiac. Burt Reynolds trying to hang on to third. Here comes Marco Polo. Ooh. Marco Polo going to get by third. Reynolds will be fourth. Side by side between Hutch Strickland and Kathy Bates. Bob Ross showing his prowess of this specific track. Up to 7th. Jerry Springer actually finally won a race at New Hampshire. I can't believe that. Foster led their first lap here. John Cena, runner up here. Joe Biden's in the wall! Oh, this could allow Tom Jones to get in here. Donald Fagen. Oh, what a moment this would be. Oh yeah, did I mention Morgan Freeman missed? I did. He was 36th in points, but he's fallen apart this season. If you're outside the top 35 at this point, you're not getting back in. The gap is too big, and Freeman was the only real contender. If you're outside the top 35, you still want great runs to prove to your team you can be in Cup. Oh, car stopped. Donald Fagan kind of spun and it nudged Peter Perfect. He held up Bela Fleck a bit. I think we are still in the green condition. We are. Woody Harrelson all over the back of the Tim Foster machine. As he's trying to look around, Woody Harrelson still looking for that first series win. Harrelson very much in contention to win the title. Not last year, the first year. Rick Scott on pit road. He must have got damage at some point. Let's see if we can space-time rewind and figure out where he got this damage. Maybe... Oh! We had a stack up here. A big stack up. Harrison Ford hopping the curbs, causing chaos. People slow. Rick Scott got hit by Iggy Koopa. And so they've ripped off the hood on the Raven West entry. Thankfully, if you still need to see Raven West on the hood, Nathan McCain is here. But it's not a good weekend for Raven West. Slightly disappointing season for Rick Scott. They were not, well, I don't think there were a lot of people are expecting a lot of them, but I think Raven West was expecting to walk away with Rookie of the Year. Something has happened. Brian Wilson has got the lead, and despite missing 2 races, he's got almost a full race. Rick Scott actually now fighting David Dayton for second, and Dayton's having a pretty good run. He's running 18th. He's led 102 laps somehow this year, but 1 top 5 the chauffeur. He's got 2 poles, so he's going to be in the Clash in 2021, unless there is no 2021 Clash. Blaze Alexander at the back of the pack. It's a rough, very rough year, but at least Lionel Messi Racing has stabilized one of its rides. That being Iggy Koopa. Remember, they had Jim Kirk and Ringo Starr, and they traded out both drivers, especially after Ringo's late collapse in 2018, for Ferris Bueller and Marty McFly. Bueller and McFly are back down in Meltling for the team. Kirk and Starr ended up getting split off to Braun, which had an alliance with this team last year, but they had split ties and went to Toyota. And now we got Tim Foster running good. He's running okay in Melling, but he might not get to replace Blaze Alexander in the 41 because they probably want a better driver. And guess what? Ferris Bueller is currently leading the Melling Series points. So he could be back up, and I think he was indeed in the 41 car last year. So he's going to be back into the 41, I think. Foster's best hope is if Lionel Messi expands to 40, or expands to 3 cars, because they do have a 42 driver who's running solid. And that is Iggy Koopa, who is 7th in points. Iggy Koopa, unfortunately today, not showing it. He's running in the 37th spot. He's gotten around Jeff Lynn, who's now under fire from Telly Savalas. Savalas won at this track 2 years ago, the last fall race we had here. It was a 500-miler, and it was instead of a 400-kilometer race, and it was on the oval. Field has calmed down a bit. Foster leads Harrelson, Marco Polo in 3rd, Burt Reynolds in 4th. Not having the greatest of years, but did get in through that go or go home. We don't know if he's going to be in Cup next year. Unfortunately, the obvious option to replace him would be John Goodman, but John Goodman's not, he's fallen off. He had a very hot start to the year for the for paint scheme in Melling, but he's fallen off. Ford looking pretty strong early on. Marco Polo's in 3rd, Kathy Bates 5th, Hut Strickland 6th, Bob Ross 7th, and Jerry Springer 9th. 3 Dodges, 5 Fords, a Pontiac, and a Chevy. Tom Jones running 11th. Grover Cleveland 12th. Cleveland, yeah, he exists. He finally won at Chicagoland. Interesting. Peter Perfect 13th. This guy's had been quiet. He's always quiet in the Turbo Terrific. Unfortunately, he's been way too quiet this year. He's 28th in points. He's got 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, but he doesn't have a pole or anything. Made every race, which is good. His teammate Donald Fagan is not. Which is unfortunate. But Fagan has climbed his way back into being locked in. Which means if they do shake up the driver lineup, whoever's a rookie will be looking to take over that spot. Because they will be locked in for races 2 through 5 of next year. Not necessarily the 500 though. There's David Dayton in the Burger King 15. Hard to tell that's a Chevy from the front. Easy to tell one from the back. He's running an 18th spot. Bela Fleck in the highest running Toyota, I believe. 19th. Looking to get around him. There's Crow. 1 spot away from winning the SummerSlam this year and $250,000. Field very calm. Not the chaos we had last time. Well, I guess we had the stack up here in the chicane. Nathan McCain trying to hold on against Telly Savalas. It's Toyota versus Dodge. And the Dodge of Telly Savalas, his knowledge of Charlotte is pulling ahead and will trump, or one up rather, McCain's knowledge of road courses. Brian Wilson in the Lowe's colors. There's Stephen George, the Renault program looking pretty good this year, although not in this particular race. Not the prettiest looking headlights though, I will say. Geddy Lee, rough day for him. Ian Anderson, rough outing. Honestly, Crow might become a new championship favorite, although he's a bit far back. It still might be Ian Anderson. It's not too late for an engine failure to occur on the 12 camp. Burt Reynolds got the better equipment, it seemed, this week. Foster, yep, Foster now. Last time he was on pole, at least at a road course, was Sebring last year, not on the schedule this year. He led every lap. Beat Morgan Freeman, I believe, who did not make this race. Chicoria won the last road course race and has not made a race since. He's missed both races. Let's look at fast laps. Fastest lap goes to the 9, or the 2 car of Burt Reynolds. The fastest lap, 119.9, a 20.0 almost, a sub 20.1 I should say for Marco Polo. Then it's Bates, Jerry Springer, and Woody Harrelson. As we look farther back, very calm, not a lot of battles for position, not serious ones. Or any spots in threat of being changing hands. How's field coverage looking? Rick Scott is about 10 seconds off of Blaze Alexander, but did run a faster lap last time by at a 122.4 than everyone up to Woody Woodpecker at a faster lap. So he is catching. 33 seconds separated first from 41st. There's Rick Scott. As you can see him right there going through the chicane. as Tim Foster about a half a lap away. That's crazy. Very calm race so far. Not like the Melling race. Who else do we want to shine some light on the broadcast? Yeah, rookies David Dayton, 18th. Could have a good points race in a rookie battle, especially since Rick Scott's taking it. Count Dracula's had a very interesting year. I think he was fighting to stay locked in most of the year. He is 35th, so he will be locked in probably for the rest of the year. He is over 200 points ahead of Freeman, and that was before the DNQ. I don't see Freeman catching up. Not when there's going to be 4 races left after this one. He's going to essentially have to catch him in 3 races just for Dracula to even have a shot to miss the season finale at Atlanta. But who has been a fantastic rookie this year is Brian Wilson. Let's find him. He's in 35th, which is not good. He's missed 2 races, and he's still 24th in points. He's gotten over 100 points per race. By not even a small margin. He's been earning about 105 points per race. He got that win early on in Phoenix in his second start of the year. I think he missed 2 races very early on in the year. And he's been locked in pretty much ever since, because he didn't have owner's points in that 48 car. But he will. And he's here to stay in the Melling Series. Wilson, I believe if we extrapolated his points out, I don't think he'd be a championship contender. I think he'd be around 9th, 10th in points, honestly, between Marco Polo and Jeff Lynne. Marco Polo, what a quiet year. Still looking for his first points win. And maybe if we get a pit stop, it could happen on strategy. But he did win the second dual race this year. And that, I believe, was his first win in any capacity at all. He did win, if I recall correctly, the 2018 Melling Series Championship. He did that with no wins. He didn't win any of the races that there weren't leeches, and leeches took most of the races that there were enters, the bushwhackers, Melling whackers if you would. The only 2 races that didn't were Daytona, in which Alan Rickman won, probably due to plate. Burt Reynolds in the wall. And Robbie Krieger won a really weird race under the lights at Bristol. Tim Foster continues to lead over Woody Harrelson, another driver who was competing for the Melling title in 2018, ran up, did Cup in 2019. They're still looking for their first win. Burt Reynolds. Has Burt Reynolds ever won a Vernors Cup Series race? He probably has. If we go back, we do find he did win Sonoma. It's his only win. He's won once. And honestly, just because of how rough of a season he's having, paint scheme might want to go in a different direction. They might want to look at some of the free agent acquisitions. You know, a guy like, maybe not a Ferris Bueller, but if we look at who was all going into a person like, say, an Amelia Earhart, who entered the Roval race this weekend, 3rd in points, could be a very attractive option. Eddie Money, who's having a fantastic rookie year, entered 4th in points. If you wanted to stay within the Dodge camp, there is Leonard McCoy. Oh, this is really interesting. A lap before halfway. Foster is in. Polo is in. Burt Reynolds, Jerry Springer. Everybody who stays out can make it. But we don't know if you can make it by pitting here. You will then have to... I'm sure these guys can make it 14 laps that are pitting. But can they make it 15 is the problem. See, the calls on a lot of these crews, 4 tires and fuel. Tib Foster will not lead every lap like his fellow Melling Series rookie rival, Mitch Hedberg, will do. And that is lead every lap. Woody Harrelson suddenly leads. Tib Foster comes out right behind Blaze Alexander. So you're not going to even get out ahead of people who didn't pit, as you can see. I'd love to see this undercut work because we got guys like Ian Anderson, Brendan Gaughan, David Dayton. You know, guys you want to have good runs. Make things interesting in the points. Woody Harrelson will come in as the cross flags are displayed. He'll get them while on pit road. I would have to imagine if they're pitting a lap before halfway, they can make it, and they just want an undercut. I am a little worried. Although I don't think you're completely doomed. Because if you're going to come in, you're coming in for a splash. So you're not going to spend all the time changing tires. We're going to sling on to Woody Harrelson. Let's actually go to pit lane 1. As there is Tib Foster. There's Woody Harrelson, so he comes out ahead. Marco Polo right ahead. Marco Polo's going to stay in third. Bates fourth. Reynolds, Ross, Springer, Tom Jones, Tom Hanks, Cleveland, Roker, Simmons, and Joe Biden has lost about 4 spots in the process. Oh, that will at least help everybody in the points. It's going to hurt people. Crow is going to be still... Crow's going to be in championship contention if Biden struggles these last couple. And he... Oh! Somebody's hard in the wall! Oh, it's Alfred Hitchcock! The caution is out, and this is what happened. Oh, he just ran a little. He got made, I think, the slightest contact with Brendan Gaughan and slammed that wall. Do we have an onboard? We do. Barely. I don't think Gaughan did anything wrong. Oh, and this is interesting because now fuel strategy should be completely taken out of the equation. If these guys go 13, theoretically they can only make it to lap 26, so they'd have to pit for 2. Oh, yeah. They can go for... These caution periods here at the Roval are 2 laps long, so... And they say about 2 laps of caution is worth about 1 lap of green. So they should be able to save. If they could go 14, they should essentially... trying to make it 14 green flag laps, and we know these guys, everybody should be able to make it on fuel. We got a big bunch up, nobody taking... Crow might have some damage. It appears to be a stack up somewhere. Maybe not. Oh, stack up, stack up, stack up, stack up, stack down. The Raven West drivers at the back running 40th and 41st. Disaster class for one of Toyota's big teams. No, seriously, they are legitimately. There is Warwick Davis Racing's one car. One full-time car. And that's it. No. Are these guys pitting? Nobody is pitting. I actually thought there were more Toyotas. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so there's just the... Oh, no, there are more Toyotas. There is a Red Bull Toyota, driven by Casper the Friendly Ghost, but it's not on... I didn't see it in the field because Casper the Friendly Ghost did not qualify for this race. Full-time Renault... No, a part-time Renault, a full-time Toyota... a full-time Dodge, and 2 full-time Pontiac Smiths. So Pontiac really hurt. We're going to get a green flag, it looks like, with about 11 laps to go here in the Tums Heartburn 400. Tim Foster, your leader. Marco Polo is second. Woody Harrelson third. Burt Reynolds fourth. Jerry Springer fifth. Bob Ross, Tom Hanks, Kathy Bates, Al Roker, and Tom Jones, the rest of your top 10. Then from 11th to 20, it's Richard Simmons, Grover Cleveland, James Bond, Joe Biden, Hut Strickland, Peter Perfect, John Cena, Pro T Robot, David Dayton, Donald Fagan. Then it's Bela Fleck in 21st, Harrison Ford 22nd, Brendan Gaughan 23rd, Walter White 24th, Al Capone 25th, Geddy Lee 26th, Denzel Washington 27th, Stephen George 28th, Hank Hill 29th, Telly Savalas 30th, Count Dracula's in 31st, Woody Woodpecker 32nd, Brian Wilson back in 33rd, Billy Mays 34th, Snoop Dogg 35th, Ian Anderson running in the 36th position, Jeff Lynne back in 37th, Iggy Koopa 38th, Blaze Alexander 39th, Nathan McCain 40th, Rick Scott 41st, and Alfred Hitchcock out of the race in last, 42nd. Wow. So the Raven West cars are the last 2 drivers running, and the last 2 behind that are the Lionel Messi Racing. 2 full-time cars, I should say. They have one other car in the race, and he's running first. Feast or famine for Lionel Messi Racing today. Some other teams also eating bad. The one Jeff Lynne, not Jeff Lynne. Jeff Lynne's car is the one car for Peachtree Racing. Tim Foster leads them back to green. Green back out. As we got 11 laps to go. Here on the Tums Heartburn 400. Very calm. Pretty single file for the first 5 spots or so. Grover Cleveland nicks the wall. Meanwhile, Bob Ross trying to hold on against Tom Hanks for 6th place. Will do so. Do you see they rocket back the not quite backstretch into the infield sweepers. Foster showing masterful command of this automobile. Always a threat to win on these road courses. That's the sole reason why they threw him in car. And it's not like he's completely running away and dominating with this thing either, though. He's just showing a good job. Now we want to look at Calamity Corner, the other Calamity Corner. Anybody doing anything? I thought Joe Biden might nick the wall there. He couldn't even get around James Bond. Oh, one car way off the pace is Rick Scott. Has he just been slow? He has just been slow. No, he spun. He spun off his teammate. Oh, man. What a hit. He hit that inside wall and then the outside wall. Now he's coming in for repairs. 10 laps to go for Tim Foster. Marco Polo still running in second spot. Trying to find a way around. Damage repair for the 0-2 of Rick Scott. Kathy Bates on pit road. Had a wheel. No, we don't know. She had damaged something. A wheel problem on Ian Anderson. What happened to Kathy Bates? We don't know. We tried. Maybe something to do up there. We don't know. This should have interesting championship implications. Biden already up. Hut Strickland falling back. Oh, I think Bates was up here. That's what Biden got a spot. Okay. Hut Strickland just falling back. Here's Crow trying to make it a manageable. Tom Hanks all over the curbs. Biden's got to be under fire from the Peter Terrific and is not quite Turbo Terrific. Mopar power. One of their championship contenders. Where is another one? There's Bela Fleck. He's not really a championship contender, but he's trying to get 19th from David Dayton. Here's one. Going. He's just trying to hold on to 22nd from Al Capone. Is Brendan gone? He wants to get the championship. You know there's going to be chicanery afoot for next year if Logan Cloud Motorsports can get a past champions provisional. As David Dayton will hold on to 19th. Al Capone will get 22nd. That's big. Tim Foster now trying to pull away. Marco Polo under fire from Woody Harrelson. Ian Anderson did get tires. He is in a decent spot if we get another yellow and people have to pit. If people don't pit under the yellow, he's in a horrible spot. Marco Polo pulled away from Harrelson. Burt Reynolds still in fourth. Jerry Springer trying to come alive. Al Roker 8th. We've got 3 Rush Fender cars in the top 10, and it's not the 2 that are outside of the 2 that you would expect. As Brendan Gaughan has got back into 22nd, Champion Harrison Ford 21st, and Geddy Lee, usually a consistent multi-race winner each year, in 24th. He's winless so far this year. My guy's sliding out. David Dayton. He's there. Go. 7 laps to go. Walter White's behind the field. He also came down pit road. I missed that. He must have had to serve a penalty. The back of the real pack is here. Snoop Dogg in the wall. No call. It could have been a yellow. Nathan McCain up to 34th. Trying to hold on against Stephen George. Meanwhile, back at the front, last time by. Let's turn the lights on. Tim Foster lost ground. Marco Polo closed in by about 3/10. On Foster, Harrelson closed in by 3/10 on Polo. This time by, it looks like Polo's falling back. Harrelson might have caught Foster, but there's still a Polo in the way. 6 laps to go. 121.8. Polo did catch up a little bit. Harrelson actually lost ground on Bull. Car in the wall! Bob Ross! Just ran it wide and will lose potentially 6 to Tom Hanks. No, he's going to slam the door on the 31. What a battle. Grover Cleveland knocking on the door of the top 10. He's had a very weird year, but that's been well documented if you've watched the rest. While we're at it, if we're doing this whole space-time continuum time travel shenanigans, I want to let you know that at last check there was still 39 cars available for the 2024 Target Winter Classic. Good rides still available. Get yours today before they probably aren't flying off. We'll leave a link down below. Tim Foster leads. Marco Polo second. There's 5 laps to go. Can Foster hold on? Looking for a second career win. He hasn't even gone full-time. This is his first year full-time in any series. He's in Melling. Driving that 40 car. Marco Polo would love to find a way around him. So would Woody Harrelson. This race has very much calmed down. Brendan Gaughan has at least fought to 22nd. By my count, that's only a 27-point loss. Not the worst thing in the world. He would still be over a race behind. He's gonna need help. The problem is, if the guy primed to benefit most from a Joe Biden DNF is in 41st right now, so he's going to lose a lot of ground too. That's the thing, Ian Anderson. This is looking like Joe Biden's championship to lose, for better or for worse. It might be the first time in the Vernors era that the driver who leads the points after the most races does not lead the points for the final race. Last year, Bob Ross dominated the standings, fell apart towards the end of the year, and it became a kind of a race between Tom Hanks and Harrison Ford, who took the championship. Similar thing in 2018. Woody Woodpecker, completely dominant, faded the third, and Richard Simmons won the championship over Donald Fagen, who I don't even think was locked in all year. How the mighty have fallen. 3 laps to go at Charlotte. Geddy Lee trying to hold on against Telly Savalas for 25th, 24th. Kept it off the wall is a good start. Disappointing years for both of them. Both drivers won in 2018 and 2019, but have yet to win this year, I do believe. Geddy Lee's last win was Talladega fall last year. Telly Savalas won New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro last year. Both drivers sitting on 4 career wins. Tim Foster looking for his second career win is just 2 laps to go. If he can make the fuel last, he is going to win the final road course race of the year in back-to-back fashion. Pretty much, well, not unchallenged, but in dominating fashion. Marco Polo just trying to see if he can make one last charge. He did close in a second last time by. Or half a second last time by. If he can close in a half a second this time by, if he's got cuts down the margin the same amount this lap, which I don't looks like he's gonna do it, then he would have the race lead at the white flag. There's Rick Scott coming out of 4. They're coming oval 4. Foster was coming off of oval 2. It shouldn't be any concern with lap traffic. Bates, Walter White, Snoop Dogg, Steven George, all drivers hoping their days went really differently. But coming through the chicane, the white flag is out for Tim Foster. Trying to hold on one more time. Marco Polo right there. Tried to lunge it in. He did close in the .38 last time. He's got to do better. He's got to get really close through this section. Polo needs these next 2 corners or 3 to be absolute perfectly. He needs to get right up there. He's almost there, but Foster still is ahead by around 3 car lengths. And Polo really needed to get under him going into Oval 1. Now, unless Foster struggles here, he should have it. Marco Polo's last chance was really going into this chicane. He's not going to get there. Maybe if he gets a great drive off. He did get a pretty good drive off, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make a move into the front stretch chicane. He's going to try to have to hold on a second. It looks like Harrelson's coming through the final chicane. Checkered flag is out. Something happened. Somebody pit. Rick Scott pit, and Tim Foster is a 2-time NASCAR Vernors Cup Series winner. Marco Polo comes up just short of his first win. He was, down to under a third of a second. Rick Scott, I think, is still racing. Let's see. Yes, here comes Rick Scott making dazzling work of these guys. Woody Harrelson third. Burt Reynolds looks solid, much needed fourth. Rick Scott making passes on the outside. Oh, Tim Foster. Marco Polo coming up alongside, pointing out his window, giving him a congratulatory wave. Woody Harrelson also doing the same. Here comes Burt Reynolds, the bandit himself, giving Foster his due. Maybe not quite. I don't know if Bandit really got alongside. Foster probably low on fuel. I don't imagine he's going to do any sort of a burnout. He's going to try and file in line behind the 32 car. Biden ended up in 12th position. Solid runs all around for a lot of drivers who needed it. Your winner, Tim Foster. David Dayton, the highest finishing Rookie of the Year candidate, 19th. Dracula, 28th. Hitchcock out with an accident. Oh, rough days. This is going to shake up the points. So you can see your finishing results. We'll get you your points here very shortly. And now your final points. Joe Biden in a really good spot. 127 is lead now over Ian Anderson. Crow up to 4th in points. Stephen George faded a bit. See, a big loser from the day was Alfred Hitchcock down the 24th. So is Denzel Washington down 4 spots to 21st. Bob Ross up 6 spots. Woody Harrelson up 5. Fantastic runs for both of them today. Some movement. Grover Cleveland right by Chick Corea in points. As you can see, they've both missed 12 and 13 races. Freeman only misses a second race of the year, but yeesh. Dracula's been consistent. Oh, of course, he's locked in. That's why he's consistent. James Bond been pretty good, but yeah, at least decent. But Carl's missed a ton. Burt Reynolds has missed a ton. Hank Hill has missed a ton. You can see these are good drivers. Chick Corea is great when he's in. So is Grover Cleveland. Burt Reynolds not so much. Blaze Alexander, having easily the rough year, has missed 15 races. Obviously, part-time drivers. Tim Foster just cracked the top 50. He's ahead of Peter Onjak now with that move. There's been 4 wins by part-time drivers this year, as you can see. 59 drivers. Potentially more. We know there are drivers. Rumblings that Cloud Gone Motorsports would be adding a new driver in their 96 car as a potential replacement in the 94 car next year, or a potential third Melling car next year. Logan Cloud Motorsports does sound like they might want to consider running 3 cars, especially if one of their Kellogg's Truck Series drivers impresses at the end of the year. They might want to give them a shot. Of course, all this is bunk, things. Big names. Tony Stark, obviously a part-time driver these days. Mark Martin still exists. Anyway, there is your results. I think a lot of these drivers... Look how many drivers have led laps this year. 54 lap leaders. And Tim Foster had led 27 of them today, I think. Let me check. No, he led 26 of them today. En route to a big victory. Next time up, all 3 series are going to Dega. We'll see you guys then.